Hey guys, it's Ron Bass with another edition of Soar High Personal Development, your source for inspiration and encouragement.
Encouragement. I like that. I
like that.
That's a good addition.
So, what's this all about, Davin? Davin Hundley, our producer, is joining me today.
It's me.
What do you think this is all about, Davin? Why do you think we do these podcasts? What do you think? Why do you think they're so important?
We want to inspire people on a daily basis.
I like it.
Even if we inspire one person.
It was worth it. To help one person is as if
to help the whole
world. I love that saying.
I agree.
So the last time around, or a few times ago, we talked about addictions. That's a pretty touchy subject, I guess, because a lot of people don't really want to talk about addiction, but we like to get everything on the table. We don't pull any punches around here. We hit everything head on, right?
Right, I agree with you.
So we talked about these different addictions, what was it, 2 or 3 podcasts ago, give or take?
Something like that.
So we're going to review this a little bit, and we're going to go down the list, and we're going to massage some of these addictions a little bit. We're going to talk about why people wind up with them, how people can probably avert them, and how people can hopefully overcome them. So we talked about alcohol, and we talked about drugs. People say, well, alcohol is a drug. Yes, it is a drug, but it's kind of its own category, I think.
Right.
When we talk about drugs, maybe we're talking about meth, we're talking about heroin, we're talking about...
maybe the harder drugs. You could say maybe the harder drugs, because I would say that there's hard drugs and just drugs in general. They're not good. No drugs are good. None of them really are
good for you physically.
No drugs are good,
unless you're maybe terminally ill,
yep.
And opiates really help people a whole lot. I saw a whole...
Or you have PTSD.
I saw a whole video on that where they were talking about at the end stages of terminal illness how these opiates can really make a big difference in people's comfort.
They can.
I was thinking about my parents when they were dying, that the medications we were giving them and how helped them to kind of transition. But man, it's never good. But at least it keeps them a little bit calm and hopefully not in as much pain.
Right.
But other than that, doing drugs is probably not a very good idea.
No.
So we're going to talk about that and how it affects your life. Gambling's a big one. People don't talk about gambling that much.
I agree.
Pornography. I know everybody, in my sphere loves pornography, but in the end, if you're not careful, that can really take over your whole life and become a huge addiction.
I agree.
Workaholic. Yeah, that's me.
That's me.
And that's you. But I think of all the addictions, maybe that's the one that probably is the most beneficial if you're going to have one. That's sort of my read anyway.
I have an argument against that, but...
I get it. And then there's an exerciseaholic.
Yeah.
Which I tend to be that, and my black belt Luis tends to be that way. But I think that's another good addiction.
I think that one's the best one.
That's a good one. So let's just pick one of these and let's kind of massage it a little bit today. How about that?
Well, I think you forgot about one. The one that I said that I wanted to talk about.
Codependency?
No.
Oh,
we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
The one I wanted to talk about was money.
Money addiction.
Addiction to money and material things. Material things I would consider. I would put.
Why do you think people are so hung up on that?
I'm one of those people, so I would say that it's the self-appreciation, like the self-image.
What do you think that gives you your self-worth? Having money? Having nice things?
It's more the things.
You identify that way? In other words, you feel like if you dress nice, have a nice car,
exactly.
that you have made it?
You could
feel better about yourself?
Some people may think that. I personally...
Let's break that down. How important do you really think that is compared to other accomplishments?
Okay, so I'll give a personal opinion and I'll give like a scientific opinion. So my personal opinion is that at one point, that was the way I felt. I was very I like these material things.
Shoes, clothes,
cars, things like that. Like, I wanted them because I was like, oh, I work hard, blah, 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 blah.
And I deserve this.
I deserve it. Now it's more or less like for my own financial well-being, I just purchased a new car. I did it because it's setting me up for something later on in life financially. Boosting your credit score.
Boosting your credit score. I hadn't thought about
having credit worthiness.
Because I don't use credit, so that's a whole different world.
Right. Well, now...
So let me ask you a question. Do kids today can't even rent an apartment unless they have a high credit score?
Well,
has it got to that point?
It's not that it has to be high. It just has to be decent.
So you have to have credit in today's world to even be able to survive.
To do almost anything.
I don't use credit for anything.
Get a car, get an apartment, get a house.
I get it.
Anything like that, you need some form of credit worthiness.
I get it.
And I have always worked hard for my own credit. And yes, I do like things for I worked hard to get this. I came from nothing, so I want to work hard and get the things that I would like.
I don't see anything wrong with that, but I don't see that as an addiction per se. Let's talk about how people can take it to another level.
Okay. So
like people that have shopaholic, like I know people that have spent a fortune on shopping.
I would say
that's a different kind of addiction, though.
I would say turning on their friends and family for money, like being like, say this person rats out their mother so they can get some money. There's people like that. I'm not saying that I know anybody like that, but there are people out there that will turn on their friends and their family just to gain some financial value.
But is it because they're on drugs, they need the money for that, or is it because they just have a psychological disorder?
Are they addicted to the
to the excitement or the process?
The hustle of getting the money? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. I think
it's maybe all those things.
It could be.
How would you really define addiction? What do you think addiction is?
So there's like the medical addiction, like pharmaceuticals. You can be addicted to a drug and you have withdrawals, things like that. That's one way of
like
defining
opiates, addiction. Which I had an opiate addiction,
right,
on pills.
So, but there's also an addiction of it releases serotonin and dopamine, which are natural.
Creates a natural high.
Kind of, yeah. They are, I forget what...
Pleasure sensing sensation?
Yes. It's just a sensation that you... Hormones, that's what I was going to say. Like,
I don't think it's hormones.
No, there's a specific word.
Whatever it is, it creates some sort of an endorphin release.
Correct. But
any kind of a pleasure experience I've studied, suggests that you have this endorphin release.
Correct.
Whether it's you like to be around, like codependency. And whenever I'm around so-and-so, I feel so good. So now I'm addicted to that person.
Exactly. So like...
And it seems to me like that's a big problem.
When I have a lot of
bad
money,
relationships,
I'm addicted to spending it. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
So that's what I'm saying. Some people really get that high from spending money. I used to be like that when I was making a lot of, like, when I was at Finish Line, and I'm making more now, but then I came from nothing, so I had a lot of money to spend. I had people helping me, and I was spending it, and it was that dopamine. It was like, ooh, new pair of shoes came in the mail. Knew this, knew that, blah, blah, blah. So, like, maybe it was the dopamine and serotonin.
Well, it's whatever it is in the brain. When you have pleasure, then that releases this whatever it is, and you feel really good, and then you become attracted to that experience. That
addiction.
And then it becomes an addiction,
exactly.
Right? So let's talk about codependence. Let's talk about how you get addicted to a person, and how that can go south, how that can cause you a lot of problems. I mean, like big time problems. Let's talk about that.
We talked about it the last time we were on addiction, but I will touch on it because I do agree, like, spending a lot of time with someone, especially early, like someone you have first met, spending a couple of days with them or even like a weekend with them, that you guys go on a trip or like you guys just go out together.
Yeah.
You can become addicted to it, but you're blinded because that's just a new person and you guys both want to get to know each other. It's not like the codependency of like 5 years where you cannot live without this person or else you will freak out.
And then what happens when that happens? I mean, what's the downside to that?
A toxic relationship.
Toxic.
Again, codependency. It's literally like, say
so you shouldn't be there, but you can't leave because for whatever reason, your brain's not letting you.
You're stuck with that person. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh.
So maybe everything is like biological. Maybe everything is physiological.
I think
maybe love is just strictly like a biological thing.
Well, love is so it releases the amount of dopamine that a line of cocaine releases. Wow. So, and that's just a rough estimate. That's just a fact that I've read at one point. But I would believe that in the sense of I've never done cocaine.
So it's not just necessarily romance. It could be like you're so wanting to be with them. They make you feel so good that you just want to be with them.
Yes.
Forget about the sex and the romance. You just want to be with them.
Yes.
Makes you feel good.
Yes, exactly.
Even though you know that they're not good for you. That's a problem.
That's a big problem.
That's a big problem.
It's a big problem. That's a toxic relationship. And that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast.
We've had, plenty of conversations about toxic relationships and relationships.
I see it all the time. It's terrible.
It is.
People can't get out. But you have to get out because if you don't, your life's in shambles. You're depressed. You're not going to be productive. You lose your job. You don't show up to work, and then you start doing other things like drinking and drugging and gambling and pornography and to distract you from this heartache. But I don't want to be with that person, but I can't help it. I have to be with that person. I don't know what to do. And it becomes a dichotomy.
Mm-hmm. And then you really don't know what to do.
So you numb yourself out, and then you don't have to think about it until the next morning. Then what happens? Now you got to drug and drink all over again. I saw some videos on some alcoholics that I remember my father, bless his heart, may his soul rest in peace. He would have to get up in the morning and start drinking again. I mean, within a matter of hours, it was bad. And you can't hold a job, and you're physically not well, and when you're drinking, you're not a good person, and on and on and on and on and on. But it's a physical addiction. I remember he went to rehab and lasted like 2 days, and called me and said, "Come get me." What am I going to say? No, I'm his son.
Right. Exactly.
And I was, just pretty young at the time, and he just never did kick the addiction. Which is sad because he had so much talent and so much personality, but in the end, it killed him.
And, we know people like that, like not necessarily addicted to a drug or a drink, but just they have addictions, and they have so much talent, but yet they're addicted to one thing and it just ruins their entire career.
And it may sound negative, but I've read that only about 1 out of 10 people can really completely kick the addiction.
It is, yes.
And most people relapse, relapse and relapse and relapse and relapse over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's a bad percentage.
It is. It's a terrible percentage. Like, it's just tough for some.
Then you look at divorce rate, look at that percentage, 50, 60, 70%. And you got to think about the balance of those people, the other percentage, the balance of the percentage, how many of them are not happy. Exactly. But they're hanging out together because of addiction.
Codependency. Yep.
Wow. I can think back only a few couples that I've known in my whole life that really seem to be truly happy. Just a few. That's terrible to say, I know. Terrible. It sounds negative, but I'm just analyzing.
No, I understand.
I wish it wasn't like that. I wonder if it was like that thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. You think it's gotten worse with societal pressures?
No, I think it's gotten, honestly, okay, so way back thousands of years ago, I would say that it was way worse. It was everyone just fucked like rabbits. That was their thing.
And everybody had more than one wife or more than one husband.
Exactly. There was no monogamy.
There was no monogamy.
Yeah. And then...
So now with the pressure of monogamy, it puts a lot of pressure on the relationship.
Well, then in between, in like the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, everyone was staying together. Families were staying together. There were like stay-at-home wives, things like that. And then now it's kind of... Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, living their own lives.
Why is that?
I'm not sure.
Maybe financial reasons. It takes more money to live, so the wife has to work.
I think it's a mental thing. I think it's like everyone wants to live their own life and not worry about other people's lives because...
Where did that come from? That sounds like selfishness.
I think it's my generation and below. We kind of all are like that. Like, a lot of the people my age don't want to have kids. There are a lot of people that do want to have kids.
You got to have kids or the species dies.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying. I'm just putting out what I know about.
You think we're being just too serious today, or we're just telling it like it is, though?
We are. I mean, I don't know. We got into
People are probably going to be like, man, these guys are haters. No, we're just analyzing.
I have my own opinions. Yeah, these are all just our opinions. It's not like, oh, I know this, I know that. No, it's just from the people that are my age that I hang around. None of them want kids, myself included. It's just kind of like, I agree.
Right, I never had children.
It's kind of selfish in the
sense
of...
If I had kids, I'd have to have a nanny. With my schedule and with my goals and ambitions, it would be unfair to the kid not to have me only to support.
And that's like the thought process of our age group. It's like, I don't have the means to support another life right now, so we don't...
Well, you could always work it out, but
yeah, you could.
You'd have to downgrade your lifestyle to accommodate the kid.
Exactly. But a lot of people my age are selfish, like you said.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think selfishness is a really bad trait.
I agree.
I think people should be more gracious, more helpful. I had a friend last night, well, I shouldn't say a friend, an ex-employee that was, and his girlfriend literally sleeping in a parking lot in another city, calling me up crying, and wanted me to help them out financially, and I thought about it, because these people have had drug issues in the past, this and that, and all kinds of problems, and I thought to myself, it's just as a humanitarian,
right.
I sent them a little bit of money so they could at least eat and get a warm coat, they're going to have to sleep in the parking lot. But I said to myself, if I do more than that, I'm just enabling.
Yeah,
them.
you're
and
enabling.
so I said, but I'm going to be a humanitarian.
Right.
It's not like I expected anything in return.
No.
So I sent a small amount of money on a Western Union to them, and haven't heard from them since. So I don't know if they're in jail, if they're at a Salvation Army center, if they, if they're back somewhere where they could get some help. But I don't think I could have helped them anyway.
Right.
Other than just for a moment. So I think we need to be more giving and more generous in some ways, but in other ways, I think if we give too much to somebody that needs help, then we're not really helping them.
You give somebody an inch, they'll take a mile.
So, and that's a big problem.
I agree.
So, but there's a happy medium in there somewhere. You have to weigh it out, I think. So that's what I did. But at any rate,
I think we're at like 5 minutes running.
We got 5 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Wow, it's going quick today.
Flown by.
Well, let's talk a little bit about being a workaholic, since that's who I am, and why is that the case? Why am I such a workaholic? You have your ideas.
It's the pride. It's the knowing that you worked hard and you got to the goal. It's never been about like money. Everyone will say like, I'm a workaholic because I want money and I want to do these things and I want to buy this stuff. But for you and myself, it's all about, this is what I've accomplished.
It's fun to start something from nothing.
Exactly.
And see it develop.
Exactly.
I can't think of anything more pleasing than that in life generally. I think that's a powerful thing. And I think that's what we're doing with Soar High Records, with Soar Entertainment, with Soar High Personal Development. And there's nothing like it.
America's Same Day Service.
America's Same Day Service, Same Day Jiu-Jitsu.
Same Day Jiu-Jitsu.
All the different companies that we are building and developing and have for many years, or just for a short period of time. Our podcast is a couple of years old now.
A couple of years, yeah.
And I've been in the home repair business for like 40 plus years. So,
exactly.
But everything has merits. Everything has, there's a plus to everything, and there's a negative to everything. But I think if you weigh it out and the positive outweighs the negative, you run with it. Mm-hmm. Nothing's going to be perfect, ever. And I have a lot of friends that want to be perfect, but there is no perfection.
I agree.
The only thing that's perfect is God. And we're not God. Mm-hmm. We are in His image, but we are not God. I saw an article on TikTok. This atheist was talking to some Christians. And man, he was like standing firm. And the Christians were standing firm. And I was listening and I thought, both sides had good points.
Yes.
And it was really interesting to watch the bantering.
That's my biggest thing today. If someone has an opinion about something, they need to know both sides. And they need to understand, most people need to understand that even if you do believe one side over the other, both sides will make good points. It's an argument. That's the point of it. It's a debate. That is the point. Everyone has good opinions or good points, but everyone always wants to say, no, what I believe is right and what you believe is wrong, and I don't think that's right.
There's an old saying that opinions are like noses, everybody has one.
Well, the saying I've heard is everyone's got an
asshole.
opinion.
Everybody's got everybody.
An opinion is like an asshole.
Everybody's got one.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah. Oh well.
Sorry. You told me to make it more fun.
Well, we have to keep people laughing or at least smiling.
Entertained.
Right? Entertained. They probably get bored. But it's interesting too. I noticed the average listening time to our podcasts are less than 2 minutes per person. Now, some people listen to all of it,
right?
But not that many.
Well, shout out to the ones that are listening right now. We appreciate you. A little tidbit if they're actually watching all the way through.
So, Workaholic, we'll close out on that and just say this. I think of all the addictions, that's probably one of the better ones, I believe. Because at least if you work hard, you feel good about yourself for the effort.
I agree.
Accomplishment's the drug. Makes you feel, really helps your self-image, your self-confidence.
Releases a lot of dopamine and serotonin.
Yep. Plus, you might make some money, which you need to pay your bills and make investment.
Yes.
Right? And help a few people.
Yes.
That's what I see money is for. It's a tool.
It is a tool.
You can't, take it with you. So while you're alive, you might as well use it as a means to accomplish whatever your goals are and to help a few people. Sometimes you can help somebody. Let's say you're worth $1 million and somebody needs $100 to pay their utility bill. It doesn't take a lot of money sometimes to help people get through the day.
Exactly, I agree.
Just like last night, sending this person $40, $50, maybe it saved their life last night.
Exactly,
maybe
it's the same with the artists. If they're hungry, I'm hungry, so let's all order a pizza. I'll order a pizza for us. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I want to help them. You and I.
We're all in it together.
Yes, yes. We all want to win.
So I guess
find you a team. That's going to be my final comment. Find you a team.
Find you a team.
Find you a team with a good mentor.
Mentor is the key word.
Good mentees as well. Be able to be a leader.
Spend time with people that you most aspire to want to become like.
I agree.
Find somebody that you can sink your teeth into and hang out with that person or those people.
And it doesn't need. It takes just conversation. You don't even have to do what they are doing right at this second. Just have conversation with them. Hang around them.
Hang around them. Just hang around them.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn everything they're saying, but you can just it's just something's going to rub off on you if they're good people.
I agree.
And that's really important. Mentorship is so important.
I agree.
Well, at any rate, I guess we've still got so much to cover on another podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get through very much of it.
It's okay.
So many addictions, so many reasons why people have them. We didn't really even get into that. What you can do, how to avert them, what you can do to control them, and or try to eliminate them.
Addictions is going to be our on-running podcast.
This is like part 2.
We'll keep adding. This is the reprise part 2.
Part 2.
We've done like 6 different ones on addictions, but this one we have a list. We want to kind of go down that. But
Mr. Davin, thanks for joining me today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate the audience out there listening to us. And the old saying is, if you don't give up, the stars will always line up. So until next time, stay positive.